Good evening. My name is Hemu, and today I am going to give a demo on your Palo Alto Firewall. So, guys, we are starting one training on Palo Alto Firewall with F5 LTM, which is a load balancer. So, it's a combo batch actually. And that particular batch I'm going to start from 8th of November, and timing of this batch is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. IST, and your classes will run on weekends, which is Saturday and Sunday. This is my number. If you have any questions, any doubt, you can reach out to me directly. If you have any queries, anything. Now, before going anywhere, let me just go through our details. So, like we are from the Skilled Inspirational Academy. We do have our website, we do have our learning portal. This is our learning portal basically, where we have a multiple courses. All most of you already aware of that, right? From here you can able to basically purchase our courses. We do have a two YouTube channel, one with the name of sianets. In this YouTube channel you will get lots of videos on Palo Alto Firewall, Panorama, F5, Python, AWS, Azure, Wireshark, multiple videos are there. So you can able to go through here as well. We do have another YouTube channel, which is the name of Skilled Inspirational Academy. Here also you will get the same content of Palo Alto, F5 LTM, GTM, ASM, Azure, Python, FortiGate, Checkpoint, all those courses are available. Okay. So this is our detail. Now let me just go through. Okay. So let me tell you guys what are the things I am going to cover in your Palo Alto Firewall training. So this training is around 54 plus hours. In this training, you will get a lifetime support. If you will basically enroll in this training, you will get an interview support. I will give you some documents as well. Those documents you can refer to prepare yourself for the interviews and all. You will also get the recorded access of recordings. So you know what I used to do? I used to record each and every class properly, and you will get those recordings with the lifetime access through our learning portal. So you can able to refer those videos later. I will help you with the lab setup in your laptop. Like if your laptop is not having sufficient resources, then I will help you how we can build the lab on Google Cloud. So in Google Cloud, we can able to build the lab for 3 months, for 90 days. I will tell you, and after 90 days, what I will give you the idea how you can basically create a new account. You will get a new credit from Google, and we can build the lab again. So now again, we can utilize the same lab for another 90 days. Okay. It's a weekends batch. So your classes will run Saturday and Sunday. During the sessions, you can able to discuss any type of issues which you are facing in your production environment as well as in your lab environment. I will also help you with the mock interview if required with every student. So if you have an interview, you can reach out to us. We will guide you through the process. We will take your mock interview and we will tell you what you have to prepare, all those things. Now, let me run through with the Palo Alto Firewall course content. What are the things I'm going to cover in this particular training? And after this course content, I will give you the idea of IPsec VPN main mode exchange, how this exchange works. We will do some live troubleshooting as well on the Palo Alto firewalls. Okay. And for this, I will use this particular lab. So in this lab, basically, I have one firewall in head office, which is a Palo Alto. Another firewall I have in the branch office. And I will basically run the Wireshark here, run some advanced debugs command at the daemon level on the Palo Alto. We will get the keys. So all those tasks we will perform. Okay. So now let me run through with the course content, guys. So I usually start this training from very basic, and the prerequisite for this training is you have a knowledge of CCNA routing and switching. If you are good with those CCNA routing switching concepts, you can able to join this particular training. I will basically start this Palo Alto Firewall training from basics. Like I will go through with the concept like what is firewall, what is stateful inspection, Palo Alto Firewall history, Palo Alto Firewall platforms, like what type of hardware models offered by the Palo Alto Firewall, what are the virtual model offered by the Palo Alto, and what are the cloud native series offered by the Palo Alto. I will go through with the Palo Alto Firewall architecture. There's architecture of SP3 single pass software and parallel processing hardware. So I will give you very in-depth information with regards to this architecture, because in most of the interviews they will ask that question, what is the architecture of Palo Alto, what is SP3 concept in Palo Alto, right? I will go through with this single pass architecture. I will compare this architecture with the other vendor firewalls like Cisco ASA. I will also tell you what is the multi-pass architecture, how Palo Alto architecture is differ in comparison to the other vendor firewalls, right? Because due to this kind of architecture, Palo Alto firewall handles packet properly and it gives us the good throughput. Actually, that's the main difference. Once architecture part will complete, I'll move towards the flow logic. In the flow logic, I will cover how basically Palo Alto Fiber do the packet processing when it will receive. So like I'll cover the packet flow, or I'll cover the life of a packet in Palo Alto Firewall. What are the different stages we have in the Palo Alto Firewall? Like what is ingress stage, what is flow lookup, then what is slow path or the session setup state, what is the fast path or layer 2 to layer 4 security processing, what is app ID, what is content ID, and what is the forwarding stage. Everything I'll cover in the flow logic. So flow logic is around 3 hours of session. Everything we will discuss in the flow logic. Then once flow logic will complete, I'll cover the initial configuration. How you can basically do the initial configuration in your Palo Alto 5. Any initial configuration include like your host name, DNS settings, proxy settings, NTP server settings, TechX configuration, banner, time zone, all those things, license activation, everything I will basically discuss in your initial configuration session. Then we will basically take the initial access, how we can take the initial access of the firewall, right? How we can basically manage this particular firewall through the GUI, through the CLI, through the console cable, right? How we can get the access. So everything I'll cover here. Then you will get the, after that I'll explain you how you can do the configuration management, right? If you want to take a backup, how you can able to do the backup. If you did some wrong configuration, then how you can roll back those configuration, right? And how you can export import the configuration, how you can take the backup, everything I'll cover in your configuration management with labs basically. Once configuration management topic will over, I'll move into the licensing, means how you can basically do the licensing in Palo Alto Firewall. What type of license offered by the Palo Alto Firewall? Okay. Then how we can manage the software updates in Palo Alto Firewall. In licensing, basically how we can activate the license through CLI, through GUI, how we can do the registration of the devices into the support portal. Everything I'll cover in this particular session. And also guys, all those practicals I will perform on the licensed device. Like I have this Palo Alto PA440 device. Okay, this is a hardware box. So some of the practicals I will do on this particular box, and some of the practicals I will perform on my those boxes. Like though I have a like Mumbai Firewall 1 and Mumbai Firewall 2 on those firewall, and they are the licensed one. Okay, they are the licensed one. Right now on PA440 license got expired, so I have already received the new auth code. So I will reactivate those again. Okay. It was, I think it is expired on October 8. And after that I have not fetched because today only I have activated this box. Okay. But I got the license, new license, and I will activate. So I will explain everything, how you can basically manage those license, how you can activate using the auth code, how you can activate the licensing manually by downloading the license key from the support portal, right? Then I'll cover what is the DNS security license, what is the threat prevention license, what is the wildfire license, URL filtering license, global protect license, right? PAN-DB URL filtering, then SD-WAN, premium support, standard support, threat prevention license, right? I do have a advanced license and also I have a normal license. I will also tell you what is the difference between those advanced license and all. Virtual systems lab also we will perform because I can able to create a virtual system as well on this particular firewall. Okay, so everything we will do. Don't worry. This device I will license again. I already have a auth code, so I will activate in your live session. Once those lectures will over, I will move towards the account administration. How you can create a different accounts in your Palo Alto firewall for different users, like how you can create account for L1 engineers, for L2 engineers, for L3 engineers, right? How you can basically create a TechX profile or the radius profile so they can also do start the communication with your TechX servers or the radius servers, which let's suppose we have a ICE or we have a Aruba Clear Pass, right? Those are the main servers which we will use for the next solution, right? Network access control solution. How we can integrate those and how we can fetch, how we can control the AAA authentication, authorization, and accounting of your network devices via those particular things, how we can integrate those, how we can create a different type of admin roles, and we can assign those roles to our L1 engineers, L2 engineers, L3 engineers, and all, right? Once this account administration part is over, I'll move towards the interface configuration, where I will tell you what type of interface is offered by the Palo Alto Firewall, how many copper ports are there, how many fiber ports are there, how many SFP plus ports are there, right? Everything I'll cover. I'll cover the concept of security zones. What is the main, what is concept of security zones we have in your Palo Alto Firewall? Because Palo Alto is a zone based firewall. We have a different type of deployment in your Palo Alto firewall. Like if we will change the type of your interfaces layer 2, then which means we have deployed our firewall in layer 2 mode. Layer 2 means firewall will start acting as a switch. How we can deploy Palo Alto firewall with layer 3 mode? How we can deploy firewall in virtual wire mode or the transparent mode? How we can deploy firewall in tap mode? So we will do the practicals and I have a dedicated labs for those deployment modes. Once those that deployments will complete, I'll also explain you how we can create a sub interfaces, because in production environment you will see the sub interfaces, you will see the aggregate interfaces, how you can create aggregate interfaces, which is also known as ether channels, right? And those particular practicals we will do in the hardware box, because in virtual box we cannot able to perform the aggregate interface and all. And you can see right now this is a totally blank firewall. Okay, so we will do everything, we will do all those practicals here in this PF440, because recently I have basically wiped out all the configuration from this box, because in every batch I basically wiped out and I will start building the configuration. Once that part will complete, I'll explain you how you can configure the Palo Alto firewall as a DHCP server, as a DHCP client, and as a DHCP relay agent. I'll cover if you want to configure the multiple routing protocols for LAN, for WAN, then how we can create a virtual routers, how we can create a multiple virtual routers to run the multiple protocols towards the WAN side or towards the LAN side. How we can configure the static route. All those things I will cover in your multi VR or the virtual router class. I'll cover the use cases as well. And guys, at the same time, I also cover here topics like policy based forwarding, PVF. I'll cover the topic like static path monitoring. Policy based forwarding, path monitoring, and ECMP. Dual ISP setup, like we have a one ISP backup and backup ISP and the main ISP, right? The primary or secondary kind of ISP. Those particular practicals also I will do into this particular session. Once those routing related topics will over, your interface configuration topic is over, I'll move towards your security and net policies. How we can create a different type of security rules in your Palo Alto firewall, how we can add do the administration of your security policies and all, right? How we can create a different type of net policies, like what is source net, what is dynamic net, what is dynamic IP and port which is PAT, right? I'll cover your U-turn net, I'll cover your destination net, and I will basically cover multiple use cases of destination net. So, your security policy and net, I used to teach around 3 classes. Okay. Security policy configuration, policy administration, source net, destination net. I'll cover all the use cases and everything. Once your net and security policy topic will over, because most of the time if you are in the SOC role, most of the time you are basically doing the security policy stuff. You are creating the net rule, that's it. In SOC role, most of the time you are only responsible for those small tasks. Okay. Once those topic will over, I'll move towards the application identification, app ID. I'll cover the app ID overview, application groups and application filters. In this particular app ID, I will go through with the app ID workflow, how app identification happens for TCP, how app identification happens for UDP, right? All those type of topics I am going to cover. And also let me just open one more thing and I can also explain you. Just give me a second. So where I have kept, it is in this. Yeah. So, guys, let me explain you from here as well, because I'll take a reference from this particular notepad file while I used to give the training. So like if I'll take a example for security policy class, right? Then I'll cover intrazone, interzone, universal rules, unused rules. I'll go through with each and every action, like what is allowed, deny, drop, reset client, reset server, reset both. And we will do the practicals actually for those actions. For file settings, log settings, policy schedule, in net, basically dynamic net, dynamic IP and port, static net, then 3 use cases of your destination net. Okay. Then your U-turn net. Okay. Then in your app ID, let me just tell you in app ID basically. So, in app ID, I used to cover generally how app identification done by the traditional firewalls and how Palo Alto is doing, right? For DNS traffic, for BitTorrent traffic, for zero-day malware, app ID flow, what is application SIPT, what is app ID components, what is protocol decoders, application signatures, protocol decryption, heuristics, then how Palo Alto are going to do the app identification for UDP packets, for TCP packets, what is this application block response page, what is application updates, application signatures, application dependencies, filters, groups, obviously the most important part, which is app override. And apart from those topics, I'll also cover how you can create your custom app. Let's suppose you have some internal application and which is only used by your organization for some purposes. Then basically those part also I'll I'll cover, and I will basically help you how you can create a custom app using different type of header fields. For example, in your HTTP header, how we can create, how we can utilize this HTTP request URI for the app identification. In SSL based application, how we can utilize the SNI field, how we can basically utilize the SAN and CN field from the certificate for app identification, right? So those type of custom apps we will create basically, and we will do all those things. Once app identification will complete, I'll move into your content ID overview, where I'll cover how we can configure the antivirus protection, anti-spyware protection, vulnerability protection, URL filtering, external dynamic list, file blocking, wildfire, how we can create a security profile, and we can include all of them. And guys, here I will basically also help you. So there are basically, if you are familiar with the Kali Linux, you can able to basically launch those live attacks. You can able to create a virus. You can able to create exploits, malware. So I will also share the commands how you can basically create those malwares into the Kali Linux machine. And if those malwares we are transferring through the firewall, how my firewall is protecting us. Okay, all those tasks we will do. So those means we will launch the live attack. Okay, I'll launch the live attack, and we will see how firewall is providing the protection. So there are multiple tools like Metasploit framework. We will utilize that framework to create those type of malicious payloads. Okay, I'll explain you the wildfire. What is wildfire? How Palo Alto basically perform those wildfire related tasks. So I will cover those in details. And after that, you can see, guys, this content ID or all the layer 7 protection like your antivirus, anti-spyware, vulnerability, URL filtering, file blocking, data filtering, they used to happen on the basis of layer 7 information from your packet. Now, let's suppose somebody is launching the attack using layer 3 and layer 4 information. If somebody is doing the network attack means like DDoS, UDP flood attack, TCP flood attack, ICMP flood attack, other IP flood attack, IP spoofing. If somebody is doing those type of attacks, then how we can protect? For that, we have a zone protection and DOS protection. I will tell you how we can configure the zone protection and DOS protection, and we will launch those live attacks like SYN flood, UDP flood, ICMP flood, other IP flood. Will launch those flood based attack. I'll basically do the scanning and all those type of tasks I will perform, and we will see how my zone protection and DOS protection policy is providing the protection. Okay. Then once your zone protection, DOS protection will complete, I'll go towards the decryption. Nowadays, most of the websites are the SSL based websites, right? Most of the websites are the based on the SSL. Now, whenever any computer or any PC will start communicating with the SSL based server, which means all the communication, whatever happening between this server and this PC, all are encrypted. Your layer 7 data is encrypted. And if my firewall is receiving the encrypted data, then my firewall is not able to do anything. It will not able to read properly, right? So for that, what we have to configure the decryption policies. So I will tell you how we can able to configure the decryption policies in Palo Alto Firewall. Here I will also cover the certificate management, like what is root certificate, what is intermediate certificate, what is the end user certificate, what is the CSR, all those topics I'll cover here. And after that, I'll go through with the SSL handshake as well, very in depth. I'll cover your SSL handshake, then your outbound SSL decryption or forward proxy, inbound SSL decryption. And nowadays, most of the attacks people used to do using the SHS based tunnel. How we can basically protect our environment from those SHS based tunnel. We can able to create a SHS based tunnel and we can able to bypass the firewall. How we can prevent those type of bypassing? For that, we have to configure the SHS decryption. So I'll cover how we can able to configure this SHS decryption. Once this part will cover, I'll go into this user ID. I'll cover the user ID, how we can able to configure the user identification, how we can do the Active Directory integration, how we can do the user ID configuration if just we want to achieve the user to IP mapping. How we can use the Palo Alto built-in user ID agent, and how we can basically use the external user ID agent, which we have to run into one of the member server. And we will basically build the user to IP mapping. And after that, those particular user to IP mapping or users to group mapping, we will basically use into our authentication profiles. And those authentication profile we can use with global protect. We can basically use those particular authentication profiles for the administrator accounts. Okay, and those particular authentication, those user to IP or users to group mapping, we can use in our security rules, security policy, where we can able to control the traffic, like a specific websites for specific users and all, right? Those type of controls we will get in this user ID topic. So I'll give you the very in-depth information in the user ID session. Once user ID will complete, I'll move into the site-to-site VPN, where I will cover the phase 1 exchange, phase 2 exchange, like what is main mode, what is aggressive mode, what is tunnel mode, what is transport mode, right? All those topics I'll cover. IPsec tunnels, then I'll cover the 13 use cases of your IPsec VPN. And those are the use cases which includes almost all the scenarios basically in the production environment. Once this part will complete, I'll go into this global protect, where I will go through with the connection flow, global protect connection methods, user logon, on demand, pre-logon, then on demand, pre-logon, then user logon, all those methods I'll cover. The use cases I'll cover for global protect. And you know, guys, most important part in global protect is the connection flow. Here I will also cover how you can able to decrypt the SSL based packet. In your in your VPN class, I will tell you how you can decrypt the ESP based packet. So we will decrypt all those packets and we will see those things live, how things are happening. Then your high availability, active passive HA, active HA, all the use cases of active HA and active passive HA. I will also give you the advanced level architecture of your high availability concepts. Once this part will complete, I run some troubleshooting webinars on packet filter, packet capture, flow basics, and TCP dumps, right? So those are the main topics which I'm going to cover in this particular training. I'll share this particular course content, guys. This is my contact number. You can reach out to me on this number if you need that particular course content. Okay, now I got one question from Marcus. Does Palo Alto works as a web and proxy also? So you know, Marcus, Palo Alto will not able to perform the web related task. Okay, web is a different product altogether, and it used to perform the different task. And Palo Alto is also not a proxy device. People used to say, like in SSL decryption, we can able to configure the forward proxy. Okay, but it's not actually a proxy. I used to cover why it's not a proxy. It just deals with the session keys. That's it. Okay. So guys, now let me just explain you the main mode concept in your IPsec VPN. And guys, one more thing I forgot to mention. See, in this training, it's not like that I will basically only discuss the topics. Like if I'll explain you like global protect, right? Then in global protect, it's not like that I'll just go through with the configuration. No, I will tell you what is pan GPS, how this service works, what is pan GPA, how many daemons involved in the global protect, like what is pan task, nginx daemon, abbap3, authd, rest manager, key manager, right? All those daemons functionality also I'll cover. What type of, what is this open SSL, what is the windows based SSL packet, like win http packets, right? All those things I will cover. Same thing and similar topics I used to go in your IPsec VPN. Very in depth I used to cover this IPsec VPN. I'll go through with all the labs, all the practicals, and all basically all the details with regards to daemons level. Even though I'll also give you this particular text file where you will get everything. How you can run the debugging, how you can do the troubleshooting, everything you will get. Okay. Now let me cover one small topic today because it's just a demo, so I will not go very in depth. Okay, guys, now we have generally in your basically in your IPsec side to side VPN, in your IPsec side to side VPN, we have a phase 1 and we have a phase 2. Phase 1 is known as ISACAM phase and phase 2 is known as IPsec phase. Phase 1, which is a ISACAM, in phase 1 we have a two modes. We have a main mode and we have a aggressive mode. And you know, phase 1 is also a control connections, and generally phase 1 happens just to protect the phase 2. Sorry, phase 1 used to happen just to protect the phase 2. So we have a main mode. In main mode, we used to have a 6 messages. So I am going to cover those 6 messages, how they are going to action those 6 messages. Okay. I will use this particular topology. I'll run the Wireshark captures. Configuration is already there on those devices. Both devices, they have a configuration, both the firewalls. Okay. So because those are the pre-configured firewalls, that configuration was there from previously. So Ankit, I will not cover the panorama in this particular firewall training. Panorama I used to take as a separate batch. Regarding the F5 related questions, I'll take in the Q&A session. Okay. Now, configuration was already there. How we can do the configuration? I am just doing one small change here. I just wanted to change this encryption algorithm. That's it. Okay, cool. Now, so guys, let me start this explanation of main mode. So let's suppose I have a firewall 1. This firewall is in the data center and I have a firewall 2. And let's suppose this particular firewall is in branch office. Okay. Those are the two particular firewalls. Now here, this is my DC firewall at the DC1, and this is the firewall at branch office, branch 01. Okay. Now, let me just write down the IP address. Let's suppose this particular firewall have the IP address which is 151.7.250/24. And my branch firewall have the IP address which is 171.7.250. And those are the public IPs. Between those two firewall, I have an internet and they have a reachability till each other. Okay. Now, let's suppose my firewall one is a BPN initiator and my firewall 2 is a responder. In this particular case, okay, in our case only, otherwise see, firewall 2 can be also initiator, but you know, in our case, let's suppose firewall 1 is a initiator and firewall 2 is a responder. Okay, so I'm assuming that now. Because firewall 1 is an initiator, so you know this firewall 1 he will send the first message towards firewall 2. That first message in your main mode is known as main mode message number 1. Now, in this particular message, what are the information available? What is the information this particular firewall going to send? So the very first thing it will send, which is a CI value. CI value is the cookie value from the initiator. CI value. It will send the phase 1 policies, or I can say Haggle information. Initiator cookie, phase 1 policies. It will also send NetT support. NetT stand for net traversal support, and it will also send the vendor ID. That is the information it will exchange in this particular packet. I have guys, this information is visible to everyone. Now, what is this CI value? CI value is a initiator cookie. And how this cookie is generated? So this initiator cookie is a 8-byte pseudo random number. It's a 8-byte pseudo random number, and this cookie is generated by running the MD5. Do you know guys what is MD5? By running the MD5 hash on initiator IP address, responder IP address, time and date. Those are the values it will consider and it will generate that initiator cookie. Okay. What it used to do? It runs the MD5 hashing on the source IP, destination IP, random number, time and date. That's how it will calculate the initiator cookie. In message number 1, what? It has an initiator cookie, phase 1 policies, or the Haggle information, and this information is also known as SAI, Security Association from the initiator side, NetT support, and the vendor ID details. Those are the details it will going to exchange in packet number 1. Now, what is this phase one policies. Or let me write down here one more thing. SAI. Security Association from the initiator. Phase one policies are the policies which we use to configure here as a iCrypto. Those policies. Those policy includes the encryption algorithms, authentication or the hashing algorithm, SHA-256 and SHA-384, encryption algos like AES-256 CBC, 3-dash, multiple encryption algorithms are there, and the Diffie-Hellman group, DH group here, and the lifetime. Plus one more thing, they will exchange the sorry, DH group, encryption algorithm, authentication, and lifetime. Those are the details they are going to exchange in the as a phase one policies. Once this particular packet received by firewall 2, now my firewall 2 it will start processing this particular packet. What it will do? It will start processing this packet, and from firewall 2 it will create a new packet which is message number 2. Now in message number 2, what firewall 2 will respond? It will comes up with the CI value, which is from the packet 1, CR value, which is a cookie from the responder side. CI CR. Accepted phase 1 policies, or SAR, security association from the responder, NetAT support, the vendor ID. Okay, so this is the color I'm using. So those are the details it is going to exchange in message number 2. Okay. And after this message number 2, they will exchange message number 3 and 4. Now, guys, tell me one thing. Tell me one thing here. I need a response from you guys. See, firewall 1, he has sent the details to firewall 2. Now, let's suppose he has sent those phase 1 policies. Now, my firewall 2 start matching those phase 1 policies, and it has not found any match. There is no match. Otherwise, in both the devices, firewall 1 and firewall 2, we need to configure the similar type of phase 1 policies. If there is no match of the policies, now guys, on which firewall you will check the logs from the troubleshooting point of view. So you will get the correct output, like your phase 1 policy is not matching. So on which firewall you will do the troubleshooting? In the initiator you will do, or you will do on the responder? On which device you will do? So guys, this question for you, you can reply on the chat. You have to check on the firewall 1, or you have to check on the firewall 2. So Sushil, Ankit, you guys are right. We will have to check on the responder. In the responder device, we will get the correct log. So always we have to do the troubleshooting of IPsec VPN into the responder firewall. Here we will get the right output. If you will check, like Sam mentioned, if you will check on firewall 1, you just get a message like timeout. Just get a message like timeout. Because if my firewall 1 is not having any matching parameter, this message number 2 is not there. He will not send any message. Okay. Now, so once your message number 1 and 2, they have exchanged successfully. Now your firewall 1 start sending the message number 3. So guys, message number 3 and 4, those messages, sorry. So message number 3 and 4 is generally known as the Diffie-Hellman exchange or the DH exchange. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So message number 3 and 4 exchange is known as DH exchange. Now we have a message number 3. Now what they will exchange in message number 3? So I am writing here X. What is X? Calculated DH. Calculated DH public key. They will exchange the nonce value, NI, and also they will exchange here. Along with this NI value, they will also exchange the payload, which is netd payload. And here, guys, they will also include CI and CR. CI and CR now they will include on all the packets just for the session identification. Okay. Now let me clone this. Message number 4, again CICR. Y. Calculate DH public key. Nonce value, which is NR. This is the message number 3 and 4. But apart from this, guys, now they will also do lots of stuff. Now that particular process we have to understand. Once they will complete the message number 1 and 2, now they will start exchanging message number 3 and 4. CICR calculate public key of firewall 1 nonce value, netd payload. Now message number 3 and 4 are the Diffie-Hellman exchange. If you want to really read about the Diffie-Hellman exchange, you can go into this particular document. Now how they will calculate this public key, this we have to understand. Sorry. So today's session is just only 90 minutes. Okay. Okay. Now see how they will basically, so they use a one formula called calculated public key equals to G raised to the power private key mod P. What formula they will use? They will use this formula. So I'm just putting directly here X equals to G raised to the power private key then mod P. Here also y equals to g raised to the power private key mod p. Now, what is this g and p? So guys, this g and p is g value generally is 5 and p value is 17. And you know this particular g and p value used to change according to the Diffie-Hellman group, but I am just putting those values according to the Diffie-Hellman group too. And you know both firewalls, they are aware about that g equals to 5 and p equals to 17. And also guys, this firewall 1, when they will start sending this message number 1 and 2, what they used to do, they also used to basically do some calculation. What they start doing some extra calculations, and in advance, what they used to do, they used to basically created the public key and private key. So let's suppose public key value is 4 and private key value, let's suppose, is 7. Okay, those are the independent values. They can able to calculate anything, but I'm just going with the numbers. So we can able to run those formulas. So our calculation become easy. But in actual, here you will get some long strings and all. Okay, and those strings also I will explain you. Here also, let's have a firewall 2. Public key, let's suppose 5. And private key value is, let's suppose, 3. Any. Okay, now guys, let's try to do the calculation of x. How they will calculate the x here. So do the calculation of x. Let me just open my calculator. Okay, so g equals to 5 raised to the power private key, which is 7, mod p, which is 17, and they have received the value of x is 10. Okay, now let's calculate the value of y. 5 raised to the power private key, which is 3, mod 17, and they have get the value which is 6. Okay, now here they will exchange 10 and here they will exchange 6. Now, once my firewall to receive this value as 10, what it will do now, it will use one more formula. Now it will use one more formula, and that formula is how it will do the calculation for DH key, which this is a main key actually. DH key, which this is a main key, and this key they used to calculate similar on both the device. So DH key equals to the calculated public key raised to the power private key mod p. Now this DH key, once it will receive this message number 3, it will use this formula DH key equals to calculated public key, which is x raised to the power private key then mod p. So what is the DH key value we will get here? X is 10 raised to the power private key, which is 3 mod 17. Same here. Once my firewall 3 receive this message number 4, it will also start doing the calculation for DH key using that formula. So DH key equals to calculate DH public key, which is 6 raised to the power private key 7 mod 17. Now let's try to calculate the values. So I'll first do the calculation for the firewall 2. 10 raised to the power 3 mod 17. Now they have get the value which is 14. Okay. Let's do the similar calculation here. 6 raised to the power 7 mod 17. We get this 14. Now guys, this is the hack here actually. Now, if you have noticed here, guys, did we share this private key in our exchange? Guys, did we share here private key in the exchange process? We never shared, right? But what we have utilized this particular formula. And after that, you can see now, whatever the calculation we have done now, we have received the same DH key. Now this, 1 minute, I think I have to put here 14. It's 14. Okay. Now, see, I got the similar DH key. This is the main, I can say, hack of your Diffie-Hellman exchange. Now I have this particular. Once this DH key I will basically received. And after receiving this DH key, what I have to do? I will do now this particular calculations. Let me write down those calculations here. Okay. Once this DH key is created by both the firewalls, now they will start calculating the SKID. In this SKID, they will run the HMAC, which is also the hashing algorithm. They will use pre-shared key, which we use to configure in both the firewalls during our configuration as a key, and this nonce value NR values they will use as a data. They will calculate SKID. Same calculation they will perform here, and after that they will calculate the SKID, which is a derivative key, SKID, which is a hashing key, SKID, which is an encryption key. Now this DH key, what they have calculated, they are also using here as a data. CICR value also they are using, and also they are adding one extra 0 here. Then SKID, DH key, CICR, and adding 1, right? So you know, you know guys, one calculation has a dependency on the next calculation. And once they will calculate those 3 keys, after that, they will exchange this message number 5 and 6. This is the message number 5. Here they will exchange the IDI, identity payload, and the hash I payload. In message number 6, IDR, identity payload, and the hash R payload. And you know, guys, this message number 5 and 6, they are encrypted. Both messages they will encrypt. So no one able to read those messages. Till here, they will exchange everything in the clear text. But after that, they will start encryption from message number 5 onwards. Now let's try to basically see this particular exchange with the help of Wireshark captures. Okay, so I'm just stopping this and I'm just starting the Wireshark captures here. Sorry, guys. Okay. So guys, let me take the CLI access of both the devices. I run the debugging actually on those firewalls, so I can able to show you those keys and those calculations. Okay, so one firewall access I got. So I'm running the debug actually in the daemon called Ike. Dump level, let me run. I'm not sure what happened actually. I just recover from the cold, so my might be that's why it's happening. Okay. So now let me start the traffic from here. Twenty dot one dot one dot hundred. Okay, so so you sorry. So now I have access basically of my branch device. Okay, now I got the access of my branch firewall. I have exit that session. Let me stop the capture and also let me stop this debugs. Guys, give me 2 minutes time. Okay. So now guys, let's try to understand that negotiation. I'll go quickly because I'm not able to talk much. Might be it's the reason of Delhi pollution. I just came yesterday only in Delhi. So that's the reason might be. Okay. So guys, if you will see here, phase one negotiation is started. You can see here this as an initiator. So my firewall one as an initiator and it's a they are using main mode. Initiator is 151.7250, which is my data center firewall, and they are using the port number 500. So they will use the UDP port number 500 for the entire communication, and they will use the protocol called ISACAM at the application layer to basically hold all the payload. ISACAM stands for Internet Key Association Key Management Protocol. Initially, you can see they have calculated the initiator cookie. This is the initiator cookie, the CI value in packet number 1. This is the CI value. The CI value is this. And the responder cookie is 0. They have added all the payloads. And after that, they have sent one packet of 712 bytes. One. So I can go here. So I just put this first packet. It's a 712 bytes packet. You can see the data. They're using UDP. And you can see the data in this packet they are exchanging. Initiator cookie, responder cookie is 0. Security association, which is your SAI information. Here they will exchange your phase 1 policies. See, lifetime, encryption algorithm, authentication method, hashing algorithm, decrypt, Diffie-Hellman group. You can see all the combination of those payloads. So they have exchanged around 16 combination of those particular payloads. Those are the 16 phase one policies combination. Then your net traversal, net support, and the vendor ID details, and also the DPD, that peer detection, that also they will exchange DPD and the vendor ID. Okay. So it's a this packet is not encrypted. We can able to see everything, right? See everything we can able to see. Now if I'll go on my firewall 2 here, see firewall 2 has just received one packet from firewall 1. It's a 712 bytes of packet, and those are the bytes. It start doing that processing of that particular packet, and you can see now phase one negotiation started as a responder in main mode. This is the CI value, and as soon as he will start this negotiation, he will calculate the CR value right away. Responder cookie right away. DPD stand for debt peer detection. It will start reading the content of that particular packets, like your security association, vendor specific parameters like net support, DPD, all those. Receive vendor ID, remote supports DPD, received vendor ID means other end. We have a Palo Alto, PAN-OS, the new generation firewall. If it's checkpoint, then they have mentioned it's a checkpoint device. NetT is supported, and according to this RFC, NetT support will be there. And after that, it has seen those phase one policies. Now it will start matching those policies. You can see it will start comparison, start matching those policies with the firewall 2 configuration. And at the end, you will get see pair one. After doing the entire comparison, you can see they have agreed they will use lifetime as a 28,800 seconds, which is 8 hours. Diffie-Hellman is 3 days. Or hashing algorithm is SHA-256. Authentication method is pre-shared key and Diffie-Hellman group 20. So those are the agreed parameters or the selected parameters. And you can see they are getting one message called an acceptable proposal found. Okay. Once this acceptable proposal it will found, now it will also start creating a packet, which is message number 2. It is adding the payload, NetT, vendor ID, and DPD. It will add that particular payload, and you can see it will only send 140 bytes of packet. See, first packet was 712 bytes, and the second packet is 140 bytes. Why that much difference? Because in first packet we have to send all combination of phase one policies, but for the responder he will only send this combination, which is the matching one, the selected one, the agreed one. Okay, it has created 140 bytes of packet. It is sent towards firewall 2, sorry, towards firewall 1 from firewall 2. Now see, first packet, this is also first packet, this is the one. He has sent 2 times that first packet. Why? Because sometimes if we will get some delay, then it will initiate a packet again. Okay, that's not a problem. That's why they will use the cookies to protect from those type of attacks. Now see, there is a reply, 140 bytes. This packet you can see we have a 3 payload, NetT, DPD and the vendor ID. In payload, you can see there is only one single payload, the acceptive one, right? Okay. Now, this particular packet is also processed by firewall 1. You will get somewhere here. You will see you have received 140 bytes of a packet. See, it has received 140 bytes of packet from firewall to 171.70250. Those are the content of that packet. It will start processing this packet. Receive vendor ID, remote support DPD, receive vendor IDs, PAN OS, or the new generation firewall, NetT support will be there, right? And after that, it will also start processing that particular packet. And you can see an acceptable proposal found. It has agreed on this one. This one, okay? An acceptable proposal found. And after that, he has basically updated his phase 1 exchange from packet number 102 towards 3 to 5. And after that now, it is calculating this DH private key. I mentioned this key, guys. Sorry, this one. Those public and private keys. See, this is the DH private key. This is the DH public key, the calculated ones. This calculated DH public key, which is X here. This is the X, which we have calculated using the formula called G raised to the power private key mod P. And now this is the key it will put into this particular packet. Message number 3. And that you can able to see here properly. It is also running the hash on the peer IP address and the port number. Peer IP and port number. This is the vendor ID payload. Sorry, this is the netd payload, not vendor. It's a netd payload. Adding the netd payloads, and it will send one packet of 220 bytes. You can see 220 bytes of packet here. 220 bytes of packet. You can go and you can check. This is the netd payload. What is the netd payload? Hash of initiator IP and port number and hashing of responder IP and port number. That is netd payload for detecting the net device. Nonce value, this is the NI value. Nonce value, this is the key exchange. See, your key start with double C F411B. See, double C F411B. It's the same key. This is the key they are exchanging in message number 3. Okay. Now, if you will go here, I'm going a bit fast. Okay, guys. It has received 220 bytes of the packet. Those are the content of that packet. It will start processing. See, netd verified. Netd verified. No net not detected means there is no net device. Phase 1 exchange, it has changed from 3 to 5. It has also it has also calculated DH private key and the DH public key. This is the Y. This is the Y value which I have explained here. This is the Y, which is in our case 6, but in actual it looks like this. And you can see this is the one which they are going to exchange here, starting with 743489. 743489. See, this is the one. This X, this is the Y. They are also adding the hash, adding the netd payload, and it is also sending 220 bytes of packet towards firewall 1. And you can see they received 220 bytes of packet, will start processing. Net is not detected. And now, once Net is not detected. Now you can see it's changed the state from 6 to 8. Now they will calculate the compute the DH shared key. Let me just DH shared key. What is this? This is the key, which is this one using this form DH key, which they have calculated as a 14 in our case. R calculates 14, but in actual it looks like this. It's starting with 19 CB, ending with 333 EC. You can see here 19 CB ending with 333 EC. Same key they have calculated, guys. Right? Now they have found the pre-shared key. Why they want this pre-shared key? They want this pre-shared key to run to calculate this ASCII ID. See, they are using this PSK in this calculation, right? Pre-shared key has been found. This is the pre-shared key. They will use the nunch value, NINR value. Why? Because they are using NINR value as well. And they will calculate the key called ASCII ID. This is the ASCII ID. And this key is also similar at both the end. This key is also similar at both the end. This is ASCII ID. It's starting with EDAB, ending with A049. See? A049, same ASCII ID. After that, they will calculate ASCII ID D, ASCII ID A, ASCII ID E. And you can see all those keys are exactly similar. See, ASCII ID E, just check, starting from AV45 ending with 6V8E. Here also you can see AV45 ending with 6V8E. So, you know, guys, this formula they will use to calculate those keys. Those are the similar. Once those keys are calculated, now they will actually message number 5 and 6, which is encrypted. See message number 5, data is encrypted. We cannot able to see anything. But that particular encryption we can break. It's easy. Protocol. Let me look for ISA camp. It's ISA camp. IK version 1. I just need initiator cookie. So that initiator cookie I will get from the first packet itself. Okay, let me add one more value here. And I need an encryption key. That encryption key I will get from here. Some calculation I have not explained because, you know, after ASCII they will also create one final encryption key. So, you know, this is the keying material, and from this keying material it will calculate this final key, and this is the final key it will use. Same calculation will be done here as well. Final key, which is similar. Apply. Okay. Now that encrypted payload, see, it was encrypted. Now we can able to open. See, this is the identity payload they will exchange, and also this is the hash data. How they will calculate this? Identity payload, just hash of the peer IP address, and this hash I value they will also calculate using this formula. X, Y, CI, CR, SAR, IDR, they will calculate the hash R value, and hash I they will calculate using X, Y, CI, CR, SAI, and IDI. Okay, in their calculation. Message number, see, 5 is also encrypted. Now all the other messages we can able to see. Those 3 messages also we can able to open. This is the phase 2. 3 messages, those are the 3 messages of phase 2, which is quick mode. And after that, you can see all the data traffic is encrypted by the ESP protocol. See, this also we can able to decrypt. That's not a problem because See, if you will go here, phase 1 has been succeeded, you will get this message. And after that, I'm not explaining phase 2 now, but I'll just wanted to show you the keys. See, we have a phase 2 keys as well. This is the hashing key. This is the encryption key. If I will use those keys, I can able to decrypt those ESP packets as well. Okay, I'll cover those things in your live classes, guys, not here. So this is what I wanted to basically discuss with regards to this particular demo session. One last thing, let me just stop all those notes. So guys, uh, generally what are the lab topologies I'm going to use? So this is the lab topology I will use for my IPsec VPN practicals. Asymmetric routing, I will use this particular lab topology for asymmetric routing practicals. Global Protect, I will use this particular lab topology for the Global Protect related practicals. It's opening. This is the one for Global Protect. High availability, or I can say redundancy labs. This is the one for redundancy. Then for demo, this is the demo one. This is for HA. This is the one for HA related practicals. So all practical we can able to simulate into this with regards to HA. Then your OSPF BGP. This is the lab topology I will use for OSPF and BGP related practicals, redistribution and all. For your policy based forwarding, dual ISP setup, path monitoring, static routing, I will use this topology. Okay, so I have a dedicated lab topologies for most of the practicals, and I'll share all those topologies with you guys as well. Okay, so this is what I wanted to cover in this demo. One more time, guys, let me just cover this particular batch. As I have mentioned, I'm starting from 8th of November. It's a weekends batch. So your classes will run Saturday and Sunday. Timing is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. IST. So first we will cover Palo Alto Firewall. After the Palo Alto Firewall, we will start the F5 load balancer, which is LTM. For Palo Alto, there are total 19 to 20 classes. So your Palo Alto will run around 9 to 10 beacons. Once Palo Alto complete, we will start your F5, and F5 will take 6 to 7 beacons. Okay. So that those are the details. Cost for this particular training for both Palo Alto Firewall and F5 load balancer is 12,000 INR. Those are the contact numbers. If you are really interested for those trainings, you can reach out to us. First number belongs to me. Second number belongs to Bidit sir, and third number belongs to Muskan ma'am. So you can reach out to any of us. We will help you with the enrollment process and all.